Hello, everybody. It is Brian, and I am sitting here on a Sunday evening with myself. Actually, I did have a co-host, but she ran off. She'll be back in a second, I'm sure. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Mine was pretty good. We went to SeaWorld, got to hang out with the sea lions and the shamus and the dolphins and penguins. I love the penguins. The Magellanic penguins are some of my favorite, with the very picky eaters, apparently, those little bastards. Of course, some of the fish that they were trying to feed these things were huge, and I was, they don't chew them, they just kind of swallow them whole. So I was trying to figure out how they were gonna, this little bird was gonna get this fish. Had to be about yay big wide, about, yeah, it looked bigger than what it was. And the keeper said that they're very picky eaters, but I think it was because they couldn't fit the damn thing in their mouth. So, hope. Oh, there you are. All right, I told him you'd be back. Do you want to get up here? Come on. Exactly. All right. What? I know. Well, it's because I was waiting for you. I haven't really talked about anything important. Yeah, you can stay here as long as you like. Yeah. Yeah. You meow. Anyway, well, I'm sorry you didn't get to go to SeaWorld. You want to say something? No? No, don't show people that. It's not pretty. There you go. All right, you sit down there, and we'll have us a nice little confab with all the lurkers who are on with me right now, and all the other people. So, yeah. So, oh, she is mercurial. Goodness. So other than that, I edited some video for my other side project, and hopefully we'll be posting that up on the YouTube channel for that soon. And yeah, also got 2 upcoming interviews coming. I'm still trying to hit that 15 for the year, and I think we're doing pretty good considering it's only April, and I think we've had at least 7 or 8 interviews so far. So, just for those of you who like the interviews and you think Brian's not talks too much to himself or talks to a bunch of people, we've had a number of great interviews, and we're going to have a couple more. I think. Good friend of ours, Lizzie. She's doing some research on cloud security and has her talk accepted from Forward CloudSec. So, Forward CloudSec. Yeah, there you go. So, wink. Here we go. Ooh, good lord, that is bright. So, I believe it's going to be the North America one. I could be wrong. I'm assuming it's the North America one because it's happening a lot sooner than what she'd said it was. So, but her talk was accepted, and I'm looking forward to seeing that happen for her at Forward CloudSec. So if you are in the Arlington, Virginia area, you can go grab a ticket for Eventbrite, $125. Okay, well, if you're in cloud security or AppSec, or you're an SRE, or good lord, that is bright, dog. Might want to attend, especially if you're in the Nova region or the upper eastern seaboard. You can go check that out, and I will add that to both chats, the YouTube and these Twitch chats. I sadly will not be able to attend. I believe, I want to say, let me double check here. I want to say I'm going to be in Ireland at that time. I'll be in Ireland, enjoying me some Jameson. No, it'll be the week after. But I don't want to fly cross country like that for a conference. I'm sure it's a great conference. It's just I'm going to be traveling a lot that I don't normally do in the next 3 months. So I'm going to just kind of let it slide. So but it looks like a great conference. They say every organization of any size should have world-class security. World-class cloud security practitioners come together to help our community of fellow practitioners realize the vision. Forward Cloud Sec will be Monday and Tuesday. Oh, it's online. So you can join online if you want to. So there's an online process as well. Very cool. It says there's very few tickets left. So if you're watching this and you're watching it right now and you think you might want to go and get those so that you don't miss out. Or there'll be an option at some point to watch them online. So, and they have a room block. So, this is in Arlington, Virginia, which is okay. So, if you've ever been in that area, it's a nice little area. I've been to DC. I mean, I think we flew into Ronald Reagan. I think we flew into DCI, but let me see, North Glebe, something like that. Crap on a stick. All right, so it's Big Buns Damn Good Burgers. Okay, I guess so. Okay. The Westin Arlington, interesting. It's a 4-star hotel, which probably means you're going to pay 4-star prices. So, if you want to go on the cheap, and that's one thing that I've started looking at with regards to my Vegas trip, because I'm going to DEF CON. I will be at DEF CON by hook or by crook. Made my reservations. The DEF CON people have taken over one part of the Las Vegas Convention Center. And if everything goes to plan, I'll be volunteering at the conference. So if you're going to be there, I will hopefully be a security goon. We'll see what happens. But they opened up a room block at the Fontainebleau. And if you've ever been to Vegas, the Fontainebleau is not... it looks fancy, right? And it's fancy prices, right? So I can't type. Fontainebleau. Oh, okay. It should be a PG video. Yeah, so I mean they've got a bunch of shit in here, and it looks all fancy and everything. I think I've been in the lobby of this place, but it's a little more expensive than what I'm willing to pay for 3-4 days worth of events, because I'm not going to be going to Black Hat. DEF CON, hopefully I can swing besides Las Vegas as well. But so it's fairly close to the where is it? Fontainebleau. There it is. Fontainebleau's right there. And the Sequest Las Vegas. Interesting. Okay. Where is the convention center? Should be a big ass sign that says, "Hey, I'm a convention center," but oh, here it is, Las Vegas Convention Center. All right, so we're going to be in the they're going to be in the West Wing this year. The South Hall, West Hall, yeah, this area of the park. So, I was not a fan of going there. I think it's this one here. So yeah, this part here. And so I was like, hey, that's a big long walk. And they're talking about using trams and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, it sounds all great, but I was like, well, what about these down here? So ended up getting myself a deal here at this joint, which is like a 2-minute walk away, and I'm near the Vegas police station, but I didn't want to have to try to figure out other ways of getting to places and all that. So found my way to getting myself a fairly decent room at Las Vegas Inns and Suites. Yeah, it's not bad. I think all the ones I saw there were sold out, but yeah, I didn't want to have to try to deal with traffic and everything. And it's not too far from the airport either, so it should be a nice quick jaunt from the airport to where I need to be for that. So, and it's on the right. It's on the, I would say, the best side of the strip. It's, near Caesars and all these areas. So, I can get where I need to be if I want to. But the biggest thing is I'm trying to figure out if I should drive or fly. So we're working on that. But yeah, it's going to be a new experience. I've never been to DEF CON before. I told people that when I signed up. They were like, how many DEF CONs have you been to? I was like, 0. But I've been to other conferences and have volunteered at other conferences. And I've technically ran a conference, if you call InfoSec Camp Out a conference. I had a venue. We had talks. People came. There was food. Nobody died. So, successful? Sure. So yeah, really looking forward to that. It's going to be hot as balls. That's the other thing. It's like, I can walk over there fairly easily without dying, even during the mornings. So, but yeah. So anyway, back to the reason I was talking about conferences. Forward Cloud Sec virtual event. All the slots are filled for sponsors. And my friend Lizzie is going to be speaking there, and I'm very excited about her being able to do that. So if you have a chance to get a ticket, virtually or otherwise, looks like you can still get sales start in 10 hours. Last call for general admission. So if you want a ticket, go get one. Just remember it's in Arlington, Virginia, not Arlington, Texas, or anything like that. And they will have a virtual side, so I'm not sure how the virtual is going to work. If you have to buy a ticket to be able to get into the virtual stuff, it seems like there'd be no limit on the virtual stuff except by how many people can come to the Zoom or if there's a Twitch or something like that. So, yeah. So, close that. How many people use Crush FTP? Raise your hands if you've used Crush FTP. Yeah, I don't see any hands. So what? Crush FTP warns users to patch 0 day immediately. It's 2024. What the fuck are you using an FTP client for? I'm hoping they use I have no idea. Let me see. Do you have to pay for it? Because that'd make it even worse. Enterprise grade file transfer for everyone. Oh, thank God. It's got a web UI as well. That's always great. Okay, so we'll do PGP. We'll do Samba shares. Samba's 1 and 3. What else does it do? FTP. Okay, it does FTPS. That's great. FTPS is the port 990 for those of you who are FTP over SSL or TLS in this case. So, if you it's kind of like you've got an SSL connection and then the tunnel pushes the FTP protocol through it. So instead of SFTP, which would use the OpenSSH subsystem, this uses FTP but has a point, kind of almost like a point-to-point transfer using OpenSSL, which is great. FTPES, I don't know what that is. What is FTPES? Oh, it also uses SFTP. Okay. So that's cool. Okay. So at least they give you the option of, I don't know why you support HTTP and HTTPS. Well, thank God for that. WebDAV, WebDAV-S. So you shouldn't support WebDAV, just do WebDAV-S. S3 Crush. Okay. So it also allows for uploads directly using S3 and Google Drive. Interesting. Crush comes from the built-in zip methods in Crush FTP. They allow for downloading files in compressed formats in stream or even automatically expanding files as they're received in stream. Called zip streaming and can greatly accelerate the transfer of many types of files. Many types of files, right. If it's already zipped, you're not going to get much in the way of inline zipping or what have you. EXEs, for example, as well. If you're still using bitmaps, yes, excellent double good. If you're using things like JPEG, no, not so much. Text files, yes, mega good. So like JSON blobs and stuff like that, text-based files are going to get super shrunk by this. Crush is watching out for you, detecting common hack attempts and robots with scan for weak passwords. I don't think y'all should overplay your hand. I think you should just stick to what you know, which is file transfers. Um, I'm not sure people. I don't know how Crush FTP is watching out for you by detecting hack attempts and robots. Are they some kind of MSSP? Is your traffic going through their servers? What if you have FTP? Yeah, I don't like that. It just seems like there's a lot of bullshit going on here. Secure protocols. No, yes, 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 yes. FTP is not a secure protocol. It's probably one of the least secure protocols. Someone call their marketing people. I mean, shit. Good God. Encryption in transit and at rest encryption. This is like the what was that program I was using? Oh, Reflections. Let me see. Reflections FTP. I don't know what they used to call it, but it was an FTP client that we used to use way back in the day. And they disabled the SSH and FTP or SFTP stuff. And that's kind of what got me started in security, because I asked questions that they wouldn't answer and I had to go look around. Crush FTP, variety of security features. Okay. Oh, what the hell? It's this. It's 4 different pictures with all the same shit in it. Oh my God. Okay, so I guess they didn't expect people to click through those. That's kind of funny. No risk. Download it today and make your purchase decision later. Yeah, no, I'm good. Remote sync and replication, plugins for LDAP, Active Directory Radius, folder names, and more. Crush Task also allows for post-processing actions. I had a program like that. It was something we used to automate downloads, which in the before times I didn't know. I didn't use wget, so we had some kind of application that would go and crawl like NOAA.gov for satellite pictures that we would post up to the high side. Of course, this was quite a while ago. It's much better now, and I would have probably used something like curl or wget now to script up those things. Secure protocols. There's a dashboard, ad hoc sharing, thumbnail previews. So what exactly is the problem here? They warned in a private memo. Oh, so somebody leaked a private memo, it sounds like. Or one of the customers were sent a memo, actively exploited ODay vulnerability. They fixed, urging them to patch their servers immediately. So this is a server-side bug, or maybe there's something in the client that can't easily be patched that they needed to send a mitigation to the server side to be able to address. So interesting. Okay, there we go. This is another vulnerability. We'll get to that one in a second. I just wanted to get the chat window for YouTube up in case somebody's asking. We will have an interview next week on the show. So it'll be myself, hopefully Miss Berlin, Mr. Betcher, and one other person that we'll have. I don't want to say their name because I don't want to jinx it right now. So let's just say we will have an interview next week. It's probably enough to jinx it anyway, but it is what it is. Crush FTP warned customers. Yes. Those using a demilitarized zone or a DMZ perimeter network in front of their main Crush are protected against attacks. Interesting. So, Public Security Advisory published on Friday. ODay enables unauthenticated attackers to escape the virtual file system and download system files. Oh, interesting. So, escape their VFS. Customers using a DMZ in front of their Crush FTP instance are protected with its protocol translation system it utilizes. I don't understand that. That's how would a DMZ in front of the Crush FTP instance protect with its protocol. I don't use this application, so so they give you nice examples. Here's how to update your system if you're having issues. Update now, don't update when idle, or you update only the web interface. I'd imagine if you're actually using this in your environment, update now, you might be able to get away with that. What I'm hoping is the update now. It sounds like the update now will update now, like cut everything off, download the update, reboot your system. So if you're in the middle of a file transfer, you may have to run your file transfers again. Or what I'm hoping Crush FTP will allow you to resume your downloads or uploads from where you were pulling them from. Update when idle, I guess that's once you've completed your transfers. So change log. See, entire web view written from scratch. Wow, they're so in version 11, they've rewritten their entire web interface. Major undertaking, one of the reasons for the wait, massive undertaking, rewriting all code. They removed jQuery from end user. Everything is now CSS and our own code. Oh, wow. So well, that's interesting. So they've taken out jQuery. I can understand that. jQuery has had a number of vulnerabilities over the years that have been really, really ugly, and makes sense that they would want to do that. PGP keys no longer need to be managed in individual key files that can be imported into global key store key ring and referenced by name. They don't have any. Okay, so they've got this. DMZ users unaffected for now, but should update immediately. So they don't have any other comments or anything other than the vulnerability patch for authenticated sessions. Hey, Bill, what's up? How you doing? I'm talking about Crush FTP. I've never used it. But apparently it's bad enough that it made a bleeping computer article for somebody on a not busy Friday. So, according to, let's see, at least 1,400 instances that we know of in the United States alone. So at least 1,400 customers are using Crush FTP, according to, I'm assuming, well, yeah, they said Shodan. There it is. 2,700 are have their web interface exposed online. In this case, I don't know if having their web interface exposed is the problem. It sounds like if you have a DMZ, then you may not be exposed to the internet. Sounds like there may be some more stuff there. But since they have removed anything jQuery like and are using their own code, well, it uses Java, so there you go. Got that going for them. Wait, what? They just said they got rid of jQuery, so why do they still have jQuery? Doesn't make any damn sense. It said they've removed. Key item is we remove jQuery from end user usage 100%. Okay, so there's still some jQuery being used in there. UI is much faster and can handle much larger directory listings. We have full control over everything now as well. That's interesting. Okay. So yeah, there's some weirdness going on there, but if you CrowdStrike apparently had enough information about Crush FTP that they have seen it being used in targeted attacks. So intelligence gathering campaign likely politically motivated. Oh, they've got a proof of concept here. Let me see. Boink. There we go. How's that? How you doing? How you doing, Bill? Doing all right? How's school going? Finals. Oh, that's nice. Oh, well, I mean, is it maybe that's not nice for you. It might be nice for the students, but maybe not nice for you. Gotta, write all those papers up. Okay, so they say it's conducted through an unauthenticated mass assignment vulnerability, exploiting the AS2 header parsing to control user session properties. This allows attackers to read and delete, potentially leading to system control and root level RCE, or remote code execution. The attackers can send payloads to the service on specific ports, okay, 80, 443, 80, 80, 90, 90, using web headers which leave log traces. Okay, so here's some IOCs that you can look for if you're for the semester. Okay, that's cool. I didn't go to a real college. I didn't go to a real university. I went to a university, University of Phoenix, but I didn't get to enjoy the joy of having finals or semesters or anything like that. Mine was just every 6 weeks or so, got a brand new class to go to. So eventually the attackers can leverage sessions.obj in the program's installation folder to hijack live user sessions belonging to admin accounts, essentially achieving privilege escalation. Okay. Ew. Oh, here's some nice Java code. Having established admin access, exploit flaws in the admin panel, handling of SQL driver loading, and testDB to execute arbitrary Java code. Beautiful. They even have a proof of concept video for it. Beautiful. So, okay, wait. They say, according to Converge, they have 10,000 publicly facing Crush FTP instances. Leaping Computer said 1,000 or 1,400. So, 2,700, at least 2,700 according to Shodan. So there's a huge discrepancy here in the amount of instances that are available. File transfer protocols like Crush are particularly attractive to ransomware actors, specifically CLOP, known for leveraging ODAs in software like Move It Transfer, Go Anywhere MFT, and Excellion FTA. Yeah, I remember Move It, so that was interesting. Unfortunately, the researchers revealed that even applying the patches doesn't secure them against all threats. Oh, crap. Okay. Change the password algorithm to Argon. So are they using a password algorithm that is not secure? What are they using for the default on that? Because if you change the password algorithm to Argon, does it also ask for a password to store it in the Argon algorithm, or is it going to store the passwords in the old version, which is what sounds like insecure, right? Audit for unauthorized users and check for recent password changes. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. And activate the new limited server mode for enhanced security. Jesus. Okay, so I don't know who buys Crush FTP. As we've seen, it does more than just FTP. They probably need to change the name to like Crush File Transfer Method Program or something like that, or File Transfer Program, FTP, File Transfer Program instead of protocol. I can live with that. There are a lot of companies out there that might be using this that don't have the ability to do these things, or as we've seen, they said they're publicly accessible. They're publicly facing FTP instances. There must be a reason why they have these publicly accessible. My guess is they get customer file transfers via SSH, hopefully, or SFTP or FTPS, not using FTP. Yeah, I mean, what you're asking them to do is to take something that they're using publicly accessible, that they may have a legitimate use case for, and they're suggesting using a limited privilege operating system account. Okay, so get rid of like local admin. So don't run as local admin on the box if you're Windows. Don't run as root on Linux boxes. Deploying Nginx or Apache as a reverse proxy for public-facing servers. that's a non I I can't tell you how much of a lift that is, but you're using your Crush FTP in a specific way. Uh, you know, the first five I think make the most sense. I would suggest if you are changing the password algorithm to Argon, you're also requiring everybody to do a password reset. Again, that's a non-zero level of effort too, because if you've got external entities that are sending you things, I used to deal with automated file transfers. Like, it's just going to run a script, right? And we worked at a company that took automated file transfers that from like the US government that were worth several $100 billion. And you don't just change passwords. You don't just change the password algorithm to Argon and hope everything is going to work well. Um, I think it's recommended to follow these steps, but you got to make sure that you're not going to break something in the course of your work to make that happen. So, and I don't know what limited server mode is for enhanced security, but it feels like they're taking away functionality, which again, some of these you're going to have to actually test and see, is that going to impact my customer? I've seen we've changed the password, so we are good so many times. Yeah, Bill. Yeah. It's interesting. It just some of these things are non-zero level of effort, and auditing for unauthorized users, depending on where that is located, you can do a search for that. Actually, the thing that made me click on this was April Murdoch, good friend of ours, had made a comment that I actually had retweeted or relinked in. What is the retweet for a LinkedIn? I relinked it. Because it was good thought here. So let me go and find that. I'm all over the place tonight. I think no, I'm not ready for my new role. Let me see, where is it? Oh, by the way, anybody missed the video for Josh Grossman? We talked about CI/CD pipelines and what have you. So appreciate a retweet or anything like that if you found value in that discussion with me and Josh. That was good stuff last week. Here it is. Okay. So she had made a comment. She said, so another ransomware advisory with a hint to check your administrator groups for a new user called ITADM. Question for all, do you actively monitor or immediately notify when a new user is added to any global administrator groups? That's a great, I don't want to say indicator of compromise. Well, it is kind of an indicator of compromise, especially if ITADM is not a legitimate user in your organization. Akira. Okay, so she's talking about Akira ransomware. So, yeah, go follow April. Amazing human. Seattle Public School CISO. Good friend of the show. We've had her on multiple times. She spoke at our infosec campout. Does a lot of work with emergency radios and emergency services and stuff like that in her. She did in her off time. And so, yeah, there's a number of, download the PDF version of this report, attack framework for enterprise framework. So to establish persistence, in some cases, the FBI identified Akira threat actors were creating an administrative account named ITADM. I guess there's no, I would say don't look for ITADM, because the fact that this isn't a public report now means the Akira folks could pivot and just say, well, we're going to call it ITADM, IT admin, IT admin 1, IT admin 2, that kind of thing. To April's point, absolutely, you should check every time or be notified anytime a new user is added to global administrator groups, because examples, and these are all excellent examples of some of those global admin groups. you shouldn't be adding people to the global admin groups. You should almost have these global admin groups should almost be like a break glass kind of functionality, where it's like you're not adding them. You're not going to add Joe Bob, Jimmy, to the global admins without a damn good reason and without oversight or emails or what have you. So that's a great gotcha. It's like, hey, who added ITADM to schema admins or whatever? Oh, no, I didn't do it. Oh, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. It's probably a problem if you don't know who did that, and especially if it gives persistence, like they said in the document here. So yeah. According to FBA, threat actors leveraging post-exploitation techniques such as Kerberoasting to extract credentials stored in process memory of the LSAS, local system authority subsystem service, local security authority subsystem service. They also use credential scraping tools like Mimikatz and Lasagna. I've never heard that one. Interesting. To aid in Privask, tools like Soft Perfect and advanced IP scanners are often used for network device discovery purposes, and net Windows commands used to identify domain controllers. Yeah. Looks like a good report. Read through it, figure out what you should, check out. They talk about some of the tools that they use, including file names, utilizing PowerShell commands to delete volume shadow copies. That's not good, but that's de rigueur, because when you're doing ransomware, you don't want somebody to be able to remove your backups. Of course, I've heard that some IT folks like to save disk space, so they automatically delete those VSSs for the ransomware operators. Unfortunately. Oh, look, Rust. Trusted third-party analysis identified in the V2 encryptor is an upgrade from previous version, which includes additional functionalities due to the languages written in Rust. Previous versions of the encryptor provided options to insert arguments at runtime, including encryption path, share file, encryption percentage. Oh, good. They give you a percentage to show you how much time you've got until your system is 100% encrypted. And then a child process for encryption. That's nice. That's good. It's good to know that you're at 5% or 10% of your encrypted ransomwareness. So, I wonder if it's like Windows. It's like 20 seconds until completely. Oh no, 5 minutes. 3 years until fully encrypted. Kind of like a thing like that. So yeah, here's some of the tools they use: PC Hunter, Lasagna. I'm guessing this is an open source tool that somebody released because they thought it was cool. Yeah. Yes, it's available on GitHub. Weird. This is my shocked face. Let me see. Where is it? Is it publicly available on GitHub? There you go. Cool. That's great. Awesome. Fantastic that we can open source to retrieve passwords stored on a local computer. Good job there. Issues. I was hoping somebody would at least say, hey, thanks from the Akira team. You're helping us out here with, ransomwaring people, but I guess that's not an issue. That's a opportunity there for them. Yeah. So yeah, some of going back to Crush FTP, a lot of these things are non-zero lift, or they will represent a fundamental change by which people do business. Whether you agree with that or not, that is how things work. And if these are great suggestions, but there's going to be a lot of organizations that are not going to do that. They may upgrade Crush to the latest version. I don't know about changing password algorithms, because I have a feeling that would require them to change what. I'd love to know what the default is. MD5? What is Argon? Argon password algorithm. can't type for shit. So cryptographic hashing algorithm most recommended for password hashing. Okay. Argon 2 has 3 variants, 2D, 2I, and 2ID. Okay. I see. Okay. Didn't know about Argon. That's okay. I don't work in the IT field in that way, so that's kind of cool. It was the winner of the password hashing competition. Is this one of those post-quantum things? Let me see. Quantum password hashing, yeah. Is optimized for password hashing. Argon 2 has 6 input parameters: password salt, memory cost, time cost, parallelism factor, and hash length. Wow. Okay, there's a lot. There's a lot going there. So, Crush FTP password algo default. Built-in self-signed surge. What is the default password? Shit. Oh, good. That's excellent. There are no default usernames and passwords. Let's see. What's the hardening guide here? Default copy ships very secure. There's no default. Default ciphers are relatively secure, but not as secure as they could be for compatibility for people just starting out with potentially older browsers, for example. I don't know what potentially older browsers are, but if you're still using IE6, you probably have bigger problems than, what ciphers you're going to be using for your file transfers. Hey, Bill. Yeah, see, I'd potentially older browsers. See, I don't. That's for me. That's like older browsers. For me, it would be like, are you using Firefox before? Yeah, IE6. Yeah, IE6. I hope to God nobody's using IE6, but even IE at all. IE11 or whatever. I guess that would be considered one of the older browsers. It might still be in place, like IE11. But yeah. Protocols, restrictions, admin, limited admin, restricted admin. This is interesting. So this is the documentation site, which I didn't expect to find on the internet. I was looking for the password hashes or something. Maybe we can. No, that's not working. Good day. Oh, anonymous guest. Interesting. So yeah, it would make sense if you're changing your password algorithms and you're going to want to do password resets. Audit for unauthorized users and check for recent password changes. That's also a good one too. I mean, obviously you want to check for these before you change your password algorithm, which might require everybody to do password changes because this stuff will get lost in the noise. But look for any new users that have been added, or look for just like we had with April Murdoch, check for any new users that have been added, especially if they're an admin. Check for any password changes, especially if those people were admins. Activate the new limited server mode. I don't know what that is. And definitely, I think you could probably get away with limited privilege, like removing local admin or just making them a regular user on the system without the ability to sudo or what have you. So anyway, a lot to unpack there. Now that I started looking at Crush, I saw this on Friday and I was like, who gives a shit? I was like, oh, whatever. But there's a lot to unpack here, especially if there's at least 10,000 not listening to bleeping here. They 10,000 customers at least using this out there. So yeah. Stop ransomware. Let's see what else. If you've got a Roku TV or streaming device, and I actually have a couple of Rokus, I'm going to need to go in and probably factory reset those, or go in and change them, because I have a 4K streaming that I like to take with me on travel. 600,000 customers had their accounts accessed through credential stuffing. And for those of you unaware, Ars Technica says it's an attack in which usernames and passwords exposed in a leak or tried out against other accounts, typically using automated scripts. So, it's like using Burp Suite or something like that, where you can put in word lists and you can just run constant HTTP connections. to and from things. Trying, like the Ashley Madison password stuff when that came out way back in the day. People were using those passwords and usernames because usually the accounts required you to have a valid email, which was also your user ID. So if you can confirm that was an actual account on Ashley Madison and you're an idiot and you're using like @gov, .gov.edu, etc., most likely your passwords are being reused across things. So they'll use those passwords and usernames from the Ashley Madison leak to hit other things. In this case, previous breaches have been hit with credential stuffing, which means Roku must have had some sort of system that allowed them to make 600,000 requests, because they have two separate incidences. So in the case of the Roku attacks, this meant access to stored payment methods used to buy streaming subscriptions and Roku hardware. Roku wrote on its blog in a mandated breach report that purchases occurred in less than 400 cases and that full credit card numbers and other sensitive information was not revealed. Well, that's great. That's really great, except when you do things like allow, like, when you're in iTunes or whatever, and you make a purchase and you may put your password in to begin with, and then you make a purchase and it'll say, do you want to ask for the password every time you make a purchase? A lot of people are going to say, hell no, I don't want to do that. So they click that. And if it's something similar to that for Roku, a lot of folks are just, saying, yeah, I want to, I don't want you to have to ask me every time for my freaking password. Just buy the thing for me. Yeah, they stored the credit card. Great. The credit card may be hashed, but because users, had a convenience thing, and I'm not saying that's what happened here, but there may be other workflows in that case that allowed for that. Okay. But yeah, so if you've got an account in a Roku somewhere in the last, I would say 10 years, you might want to fix it. So they say the first issue, only 15,000 accounts. Monitoring these accounts, they identified a second incident, one that touched over 500,000 accounts. These were collectively a small fraction of Roku's more than 80 million active accounts, but the streaming giant will work to prevent such future stuffing attacks. We've seen stuff like this before. Was it LastPass? I think. It's cool that they came out with it and said, hey, we found 2 incidences. I don't remember them talking about the first incident. Maybe it didn't rise to the level of needing to report that at a more broad level. It was only the second one that they found that did lead to that. We may see another report come out saying that it actually was a bit more than 500,000. Because that's how they do, right? That's the playbook. I hope that's wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But they may still be doing investigation and they'll find that there was a third incident or a fourth incident. But yeah, reset all your passwords. I would say factory reset everything. Kill your Roku accounts if you need. You don't need them. Affected accounts will have their passwords reset and will be notified along with having charges reversed. Every Roku account, when requiring a login, will now need to verify their account through a link sent through their email address. Alternatively, one can use the device ID of any linked Roku device. Forcing this upgrade yourself is probably a good idea for past or present Roku owners. Yeah. It's interesting, these authentication mechanisms. I've seen this in a lot of different cases where legacy workflows or legacy authentications or legacy account creation procedures still exist. When they put something new in place, they maybe have to leave the old version in because, especially for devices, they can't push out an update for an older device, so they have to still use the legacy stuff. We've got 30,000 devices out there that can't do SAML or can't use SSO or Upgrading those is going to be a lot of effort that we don't want to do. And the answer comes down to either, well, we just let them go, or we contact those customers and do things like rebate programs or trade-ins, or hey, trash that $30 piece of plastic in a responsibly and ecologically safe manner, and take this free $30 gift certificate and go buy a new Roku stick, that kind of thing. But you'll see that where it's like, we can't patch these easily, so we're gonna have to leave some legacy stuff in place. Same time of the breach, Roku accounts were sold for as little as 50 cents and likely obtained commonly available stuffing tools that bypass brute force protections through proxies and other means. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that sucks. It's 50 cents for a Roku account. That's it. What's going through my head is, how do you get people to care about something with a value of 50 cents? How do you get your customers, or your coworkers, for instance, if you say, hey, if we get breached, we're going to lose 500,000 credit card numbers, and those go for 25 cents a piece on the dark web. So you got 500,000, in aggregate, if you can say 500,000, that's great. But if it's at a certain point, you really have to have a culture to want to fix it, regardless of how much it's going to cost you, because 25 cents is not a lot for a credit card number, or an account number, or the 50 cents here for the Roku accounts. What is it? 576,000 times 0.2, no, 0.50, right? Yeah, sorry, back up. 0.5, god damn, oh, there we go. $288,000, right? $288,000. Yeah, exactly. $288,000 for all 576,000 accounts. I don't know how much Roku made last year. Roku quarterly report. Okay, so they made 8.7. They are worth $8.7 billion. And so how much did they make last month? Changing their forecast. Analysts reboot Roku stick ahead of earnings. Yeah, 100 billion hours were streamed, 4.1 hours per day. Stock price dropped from $473 a share. Ooh. Entertainment soared to $57 at last check. Okay, so that was after the COVID pandemic. They posted a loss of $1.38 per share on revenue of $741 million. Okay, so 288,000, even with a $741,000 or $1 million, it was a loss of $1.38 a share, but they still made $748 million last quarter, or a year ago. So it's not a lot of money for them, but yeah, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to want to. You should fix it if you're customer oriented organization. You want people to care. Did this breach cause them any issues? No, not that I can tell. This was mentioned on what day? This was mentioned on the 19th at 10:19 a.m. In after hours trading, they're down about $1.79. So they lost 3%. I don't even know that's true. That 3% either way is a rounding error. Sometimes it's I would say it's in margin of error or margin of operating on any given day. So they didn't really suffer anything from this breach that was announced. Now we may see more on Monday, tomorrow, when everything starts kicking back up again. But yeah, yeah. Oh, see now that okay. So the Hollywood Reporter mentions the data breach here, but the first 5 top news is not the oh, there it was. Okay, so they actually mention it in the top news, but it's buried over here on the far side. That's interesting. You see what they did there? So they, this got released. This was more popular than that, but then they have 2 other news stories that are more popular than the one talking about the cyber attack that happened to Roku. And they're saying this happened a week ago. So they're doing what they can to bury it, right? But yeah. So anyway, yeah, change your passwords, enable, and forcing the 2FA is always going to be a good thing, right? Especially after the breaches. If you don't have a good 2FA, and I'm assuming it's going to be something similar to how you do with most streaming services. You're going to have a QR code, or you're going to have, you're going to have to go to a link and type in the 6-digit code that's there, or something like that. So it's good that they're forcing that. It's I saw something today on Twitter, and it's actually one of our interviews that are coming up about SSO, and it's the fact that if you use things like SSO, there's nothing. I don't want to say there's nothing to lose, because you have passwords, right? But if you're using single sign-on, if they're breached, if you're doing SSO and 2FA right, and this is what I'm hoping to ask our interviewer coming up in a very short time, hopefully, there's less to lose, right? You have to do a lot of extra stuff just to get to there's going to be less breaches, right? You're not going to have password lists or whatever. SSO is completely different authentication mechanism than a username and a password, which in theory is great. So yeah. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's the Wigner crystals. Never mind. Another one I just saw later today, or earlier today. Apparently, there's another vulnerability in glibc, which is a perennial can that gets kicked down the road. glibc is in everything, right? And it's in this thing called iconv, and iconv is I think it's internationalization. iconv. Command line program standardization, standardized application programming used to convert between different character encodings. So yeah, it converts, UTF-8 to, ISO what 80, 88, 59, 16 or something like that. So yeah, it uses to convert or to Unicode or what have you. So it's a tool that is used very much like very integral to Linux. And apparently there's an out of bounds write issue with escape sequences in iconv because of the glibc library 2.3.9 or older. So iconv has the vulnerability because of the glibc version that was used to compile that version of iconv. So there you go. And it's a specific font type, or not font type, but a character set. In this case, it looks like the Chinese external, CNEXT. Superset of ISO 2022 CN that traditionally supports other GB character sets, and Chinese character encodings. Yeah, that's what I was trying to find. I wanted to make sure I didn't get it wrong. So yeah, if you're trying to convert from English to this character encoding version for things like graphic characters or graphic user interface, or for your OS or whatever, there are issues in the escape sequences that can cause an overflow of 1, 2, or 3 bytes with fixed values. So it says while SO designation has expected bounds checks, SS2 and SS3 do not. Now, to be fair, I don't know what you can do with a write overflow of 1, 2, or 3 bytes with fixed values. I'm assuming you can do something ugly with that. 3 bytes is not a lot, though. Yeah. Really? Okay. Apparently there's an offensive con talk coming up about IconV. Okay, so another conference you can go to, Offensive Con. A few months ago, I stumbled upon a 24-year-old buffer overflow in glibc. Despite being reachable in multiple well-known libraries and programs, it proved rarely exploitable. Indeed, this was not a foo's bug. It's a hard-to-achieve precondition and did not even provide a nice primitive. On PHP, however, it led to amazing results, a new exploitation technique that affects the whole PHP ecosystem and the I don't even know what that word is. It's not a real word, is it? Oh, there you go. That's a big ass word for y'all today. Compromission. Want to go with that route. The act or action of jeopardizing as one's morals or ethical principles. So there you go. Several applications. So there you go. Yeah, go check this out. If you're going to go to Offensive Con, you know, there's going to be an IconV discussion, and I don't know where that's at. Where is it located? Oh, they're using euros, so it's got to be. Oh, well, it's happening next month. Okay, May 10th and 11th. Trainings are 6th through 9th. So, oh, it looks like they still have some, but yeah, it's not cheap. 850 euro. So, 1250 euro, 1500 euro. So there you go. Plenty of good conferences around. So if you're wanting to go and hang out with like-minded individuals, you should definitely go do that. But so yeah, that person is going to be giving a talk about that at that conference. So Charles Fole, C for real, is a researcher at LexFo Ambionics. Discovered mode execution vulnerabilities in Drupal, Magneto, Symfony, Laravel. Enjoys binary exploitation. Okay. There you go. So yeah, you're going to need to update IconV so that it uses the later version of glibc, and then you won't have to worry. Now, if you're not using these, this ISO standard in any part of your application, you're probably mostly okay. So something to also think about as well. It's not going to rank high on the list, but I just thought that would be interesting to see. It did get a CVE number, so 2024-2961, and you can follow along with that if you want to, right there. Okay. Okay. Yeah, nobody's on our chat in YouTube. Okay, good. Found a dice roller that didn't suck. Uses Unity Game Engine for dice rolling. I've been using it the last couple days for my side project. Works fairly well. And it's eminently adaptable. So, hey, insufficiano. Okay. Oh yeah, I found this too. So there's been a lot of hate about MITRE recently. I think we talked a little bit about that on the show at one point. So MITRE was being criticized because they were trying to figure out what the future MITRE was going to look like. What's going to happen to the CVE database because it was woefully out of date. There was about 40,000 items that were missing. No, that's sorry. MITRE CVE backlog. There you go. So, yeah, security conference last week. Researchers complained a CV backlog of MITRE related to orgs handling new vulnerabilities and the difficulties of getting CVE assigned. At OSCERT, David Jorm said it's gotten so bad he started creating workarounds to the problem, such as creating his own website to get the word out about new vulnerabilities. We talked about that, and then there were other people like, "Hey, what's the future of this going to look like when they, are we going to include more?" I don't think what they call them CNAs or something like that, but it was like, are there certified, companies or groups out there that can create CVEs of their own? Are we going to have, like we do with threat actors, where we have, Radiant Typhoon being from Microsoft, and they call themselves, Umpty Squat Panda from, CrowdStrike, or APT 117 or something like that from other places? Are you going to have, CVE, 2024-0001 there, and then you're going to have MSFT CVE 2024-8927-111, which is the Microsoft version. You're going to have a Google one. I mean, is there going to be universal numbering system, etc.? Come to find out, around the same time, MITRE threat actors. In the news, I had seen something, yeah. So, not saying that these two are connected. I'm just, but it was interesting that MITRE also got hit by, I'm sure the word sophisticated will be added here in this article somewhere because it's a news article from MITRE. But as of the 19th, MITRE disclosed, despite its fervent commitment to safeguard its digital assets, it experienced a breach that underscores the nature of modern cyber threats. After detecting suspicious activity on its networked experimentation, research, and virtualization environment, or NERV, a collaborative network used for research and development and prototyping by a foreign nation-state actor. So, following detection, MITRE took prompt action to contain the incident. I would imagine at MITRE they got some pretty good IR people. I would hope they do. Not like creme de la creme folks, that because they created the MITRE attack framework, right? So what I would love to find out is if they followed the methodology or not. Did they actually have their methodology that they use? I would be very interested in understanding and listening to, even if it was just over some adult beverages, what the IR response was for this and how they found this. I'm hoping to actually write up a report. I would love to read the report. So this person is, who is this guy? Jason Provodakis, President, CEO, MITRE. Disclosing the incident in time and manner because of our commitment to operate in public interest and advocate for best practices and enhance enterprise security, as well as the necessary measures to improve industry's cybersecurity posture, or defense posture. Threats and cyber attacks are more of, there it is, there's the word. Ding, 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 ding. I knew it. I hadn't even read this article yet, but I knew sophisticated would be in here at some point. And require increased vigilance and defensive approaches. As we have previously, we will share our learnings from others, this experience to help others and involve our own practices. Awesome. I'm looking forward to the write-up on that. 50-year history. Oh yeah, defend, engage. That was the other framework I was trying to remember. Attack, defend, engage, and Caldera. I actually met some of the Caldera folks at I think the last B-side Seattle that I got to go to, not the one that's happening at the end of the month, but at the last year, just before I came down here. To offer learnings, MITRE's published initial details. Ooh, yes. Through Medium. Okay, all right. You can go follow along in your sheets here if you wanna keep an eye out. Let me post that up there. Nation state, yeah. So that it didn't take long to get sophisticated in there. Cool. Coming in despite our digital, yeah. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so a lot of this is the same shit that what they said in the original doc. Learn a lot from being hacked, crystallized from us. We get incident overview. Here we go. Oh, January 2024, threat actor performed recon of our networks. Exploited one of our VPNs. Oh, Ivanti. Oh, shit. They use Ivanti. Shit. Wow. That sucks. Yeah. And skirted past our multi-factor auth using session hijacking. Wow. Damn. From there, they moved laterally and dug deep into our network's VM infrastructure using a compromised administrator account. That's not good. Somebody's gonna get their password reset. They employed a combination of, there it is again, sophisticated. I hate that word, sophisticated. It's almost like context. When people are like, context, we need more context. No, you don't need more fucking context. You just need information. Maintain persistence and harvest credentials. They followed best practices, vendor instructions, and the government's advice to upgrade, replace, and harden our Avanti system, but we did not detect lateral movement in our VM infrastructure. At the time, we believed we took all necessary actions to mitigate the vulnerability, but these actions were clearly insufficient. Okay. And then they use their attack techniques. Awesome. This is great. Okay. So they have Avanti. They have VMware that we know of now. They were, so the the O-Day vulnerabilities and Avanti's pooched them. The government sent out messaging, and that's probably this right here. Yeah, CISA saying, they said basically Avanti's hot garbage, get rid of it immediately. Didn't happen fast enough for some folks, I imagine. But they did not detect lateral movement. So there was a monitoring gap, it sounds like, in their systems that did not notice the lateral movement in their VM infrastructure. That's probably a deficiency that they've now plugged that particular hole. Yeah, so let's see, what else? Remote session hijacking, remote services, valid accounts, exfiltration over C2, and run virtual instances. Okay. I have a friend of mine that can create a virtual machine in 2 kilobytes using QEMU on the system. And if I ever get a chance to get her on our show, I definitely would like for her to show us that one, because apparently it's so small it is almost undetectable. I think it was 2 kilobytes. I want to believe that's true. But yeah, I would love to have her on and talk about that stuff. So yeah, upon detecting a breach, our incident response plan initiated coordinated response plan, containment, governance, analysis, remediation, communication, enhanced monitoring. Okay, it's not pickerel, but it is a plan. The key actions included. So there was, not to be limited by, but we did this and all these things as well. Simply changing edge firewall was insufficient as the network had connectivity to labs across enterprise. Effective containment required shutting down access to infrastructure and isolating edge systems in a diverse set of labs. Accurate network inventory was critical in doing this in a timely way. So, did they have an accurate network inventory? They say they suggest an accurate network inventory. It was critical to doing this in a timely way. So, so they have one, or they believe they have one. That's good. That's good. Having a network inventory, or at least how everything's connected at a minimum, is always a good thing. Effective response recovery requires an aligned board and management team. Board of trustees chartered an ad hoc committee to provide governance and oversight. Our CTO led the overall response, balancing and coordinating across CIO and CISO on incident response, business unit leadership, on customer engagement, and project recovery and continuity. Okay. These last two were that's pretty much PR and legal, so they always get involved. We launched multiple streams of forensic analysis to identify the extent of the compromise, techniques employed by adversaries, and whether the attack was limited to the research and prototyping network or had spread further. While this process is still underway, we have a lot to uncover about how the adversary interacted with our systems. Trusted log aggregation was perhaps the most important component to enabling our forensic investigation. That's good. So log aggregation is important. Being able to have that ability to look at logs in a way that is, it sounds like they isolated their network logs as well in one place, or had other controls around it so that they, maybe, as a bad guy, if you've got persistence, you'd want to look for those log servers and you'd want to blow them away or encrypt them in some way so that the people can't get to them to do that kind of analysis. It feels like that would be a logical thing for me, but yeah, it sounds like the aggregation was important, so that's good. Compromised system contained for the forensic analysis. We needed new compute, storage, and networking resources for projects to use instead, so they had clean versions of things, right? Conducted a thorough audit, security audit of each, and established a procedure for projects to migrate to new systems. Highest priority projects will be back online in clean environments with fewer than 2 weeks of downtime. That's pretty nice. Okay, so their business continuity plan has a return to normal of about 2 weeks, give or take, for critical systems. Actually, it's not even return to normal. So their most critical, highest priority projects will have 2 weeks of downtime. So they're actually return to normal, which will never really be returned to normal, but to return everything back up and running in a normal status is going to be more than 2 weeks. And I guess that would also depend on time to take to do the full investigation of these things, who has the bandwidth to do that, who's doing that versus, is it the IR people? They have dedicated IR people and dedicated assets to do the rebuilds, etc. So critical to maintain transparent comms with stakeholders, including affected employees, customers, law enforcement, and public. With the investigation underway, finding that balance to share can be challenging. We're making the decision to inform the public because we work in the public interest, and the more we collectively understand, can combat this threat, the better we'll all be. Exactly. So they're not shying away from the fact they were breached, which I find great. We didn't find out on a 10K filing or an 8K filing from the SEC. They're not publicly traded anyway, so I don't even know if they have to go through the 10K and 8K, but because they're a government entity, and they have I think it would be more damaging for their reputation if they weren't publicly making this a thing. So that's goes to their culture, that they were able to convince people to say, okay, look, we have a reputation as the people who are supposed to know this shit and supposed to live by what we tell people. So, we have to do what we preach. We have to walk that walk and talk that talk. So it's really nice. It's really nice to see. Enhanced monitoring. Forensic investigation necessitated rapid deployment of new sensor suites to collect information from affected systems, many of which can help improve our monitoring in an enduring way. We were also able to leverage indicators of compromise from the compromised systems and from partners and law enforcement to augment threat hunting efforts across other parts of our network. There you go. So yeah, they must have identified some areas where they could have been monitoring better, or maybe they realized that what they were doing before was not going to be enough, and it was time to get additional technology so that they could build that out like that, which is always good. I mean, I hate to use the term never wasted crises, but now would be a good time to ask for things in the middle of your crises, so that way as you're implementing new changes, you can say, well, we can load this and send this along as well. So oh man, my lighting is shit. Let me see. Anomaly detection, monitoring VPN for unusual patterns such as spikes in connections or unusual geographic locations. That's always good if you're not a multinational corporation. Now, I would say if you're in Russia, you could probably get away with that. I would say, yeah. I don't know who uses their VPN or what systems, but it would seem like yeah. I don't know if you could actually do things like IP blocking. Like they mentioned that on Crush FTP. They were like, oh yeah, you should limit your IP addresses or whatever. Again, may not be possible if you're a multinational corporation using this. You've got people working in Brazil, you got people working in South Africa, you got people working in Luxembourg, you got people working in India and Jakarta, Sydney and what have you. And it's like, okay, can we block the entire Russia IP range or the entire Portugal range or something like that if we're not using it and nobody's in Portugal or something like that. I mean, if you're used to seeing certain geographic locations constantly pop up, and then all of a sudden you see one from South Korea or something, for instance, either somebody's on vacation and decided they needed to work on their vacation, which means that's kind of sad, or maybe it's not what you think it is, or if it's from Brazil, or if it's from Argentina, and you're not used to having traffic from South America. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just something you could flag for later, right? Or flag for now and say, okay, who is this? Or, who's logging in? Oh, it's Bob from accounting. Wait, why is Bob from accounting logging in Brazil? He shouldn't be. That kind of thing. Behavior analysis is always good. Network segmentation, yes, more network segmentation might have slowed or halted the lateral movement, right? Like they said, segmenting networks can limit movement, making anomalous activities more apparent. Threat intel feeds, you've got to pick the right ones. Deploy adversary engagement resources in your environment, such as deception environments. Honey tokens not only trigger detection, but provide deeper insights, right? Plus, it's also a good way of finding if employees are snooping around the network. If they find important pay scale stuff.txt or something like that, and somebody opens it, why are they poking around in the network? You can leave honey tokens or honey things like that, or honey pots, honeypot, systems like that. Those are great if you've got everything else done, right? Your basics should be some of the first things, network segmentation, anomaly detection, threat intel feeds. But things like honey tokens, those are nice to have, I would say, for the most part. That's my opinion. Some people go directly to the honey pot or the honey tokens and think, hey, that's what we need to have in our network. Never mind the fact that they don't have SSO or 2FA on their VPN, or they're using Avanti or what have you. So you do you, right? You know what I mean? So they add hardening tips, strong auth, patch management, least privilege, segmentation, vulnerability assessments, threat intelligence program. Yeah, those are all great things to have. Definitely things that you should look at doing. Next steps, call to action, incident review, conducting comprehensive review or security posture or cybersecurity posture, including vulnerability assessments and pen testing, to identify and address potential weaknesses, and training your employee training and awareness programs to reinforce cybersecurity best practices and threat awareness, and strengthening defenses. Okay. So I'm sure we'll find out more. I'm looking forward to, I might actually bookmark this and keep an eye out on it, put a watchdog on it so that I can see if they update this with like, hey, here's our report, that kind of thing. We'll see if that comes up anytime soon. Yeah, written 2 days ago by Lex Crumpton. Okay, cool. I don't think I have anything else. I was gonna mention some stuff that I found here, and I've actually started doing more Reddit because there's a lot of different Reddits that I like to view. When I got our solar panels put in, I started dropping into our solar. We were moving back down to San Diego, so I started. I was hanging out in our San Diego. I use DaVinci Resolve for editing video and audio and stuff, so I was in DaVinci Resolve, and so I was adding. I was getting involved in some of those, and of course, there's always been NetSec. There's always been Blue Team. There's I don't think I can. Yeah, so I don't think I can. Oh, I can create. Can I create a post? Did they unblock me? Oh my goodness, I think they unblocked me. Sweet. For the longest time, I had been blocked in our NetSec because I think I advertised back in 2015 a video of Mr. Betcher installing WebGoat from OWASP to do vulnerable environments kind of thing. And they took the video down. They took the video post down because I think I also now they didn't have anything about self-promotion in here, but they said my content wanted them make them play in traffic. And for the longest time, I was unable to even post inside of NetSec. So interesting. So I've got the ability to do that again in 2024. But yeah, I saw a story today. What was it? Hacking? Yeah. I really wish that like the mods on the channels here would change something here. Keep some rules in here about stupid posts or things. Somebody said, I just want to see what songs folks around me are listening to and join in with them, kind of like a radio. How to achieve this? Thanks. Intercepting Bluetooth audio? No. One, you don't do that. I do like the fact that some people said, hey, go get a PhD in cryptography, defeat AES 256 encryption, and then you'll be good to go. Get a quantum computer. Sometimes you'll tell that like OP doesn't show back up in the thread because they realize they asked the stupid question. And somebody said, hey, easiest way to be to tap people on their shoulder to get their attention, say hello and ask them. And of course my snarky ass said, hey, no, that'd be too hard. What if we gave them a gentle whack with a hammer and stole their AirPods? Some of my comments are smarter and more pithy and fun, but yeah, I don't know. I started using Reddit a lot more because I don't get the same kind of interaction on Twitter or even Mastodon that you do on here. Sometimes it's just a different thing. Oh yeah, there's our Peerless Gamer as well. So, but yeah, it was just I wish these were policed a little better because it's obvious that people are coming in going, help me get my Facebook account back. Or, is there a way to see a private account's posts and followers without following? No, go away. Yeah. So just some creepy ass people who, say things. And anyway, is anybody online right now? It's a Sunday evening. I shouldn't be here either, but I felt bad because to be honest, I felt like shit on Friday, and I didn't want to bring it to the stream. Feeling a bit unfulfilled in my job. We had a reorganization, and my previous management, I don't want to say it was hands off. They just kind of, I think, trusted me more about doing things. The new group that I'm in is very much, hey, what are you doing? Getting all, I don't want to say getting up in my business because it's technically their business, but it makes me feel like they don't trust me. And there's a lot of questions that they're asking that I don't necessarily have the answers to because they're coming at it from a different direction. They're from like more red team and more, I call it active security instead of what I currently do. I'm going to refrain from mentioning it because it's very important and it's very niche. I have mentioned device security in the past, but there's other facets of that, but it's like they're trying to I think they're still trying to figure out, what is it you do here, Bob? And I'm like, I'm trying to explain this stuff and I'm starting to feel like they maybe don't trust me. Like they're like, hey, we're being asked to do things that you're not doing right now, and maybe this is all in my head, really. Maybe I'm just, completely out in left field. But it's really weird. Oh, there I am again. Okay. Yeah, it's just I have an on-site with my skip in a couple weeks, and so I'm going to probably sit down with him and talk about that in some way, shape, or form. I'm hoping. I there's a very, very good. Uh, it's a shitty job market, and I'm 45 years old, and I don't relish being out there in the job market, and so trying to. I don't want to leave, but I also don't want them to leave me. That kind of thing. So just trying to get a handle on that, and I felt real shitty on Friday, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to bring that to the stream because it's a different kind of energy, right? And I don't want to bum y'all out. So let's see. Let us go and I love chill hop music, but probably it's an acquired taste for y'all. Let's go and hook up with. Let's go do Maker Deck. We haven't done Maker Deck in a while. So anyway, I'm gonna be back on Tuesday. Hopefully everything will be fine. We'll talk about other things, and if you have comments or questions or concerns, you can definitely hit me up. And but other than that, I'm gonna go and go watch machines make things. So hope you join and have a good rest of your weekend. Have a good night's sleep. Take care of yourselves, because I'm fond of saying here, you're the only you have. All right? Take care, y'all. Bye.